Titans, go!
Hello again, Titans fans. Welcome back to Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Charles Skaggs, here in the basement of Titans Tower, once again with my other co-host, everyone's favorite co-host, Jesse Jackson. How you doing, Jesse?
I am great. I'm looking forward to eating birthday cake with you.
Okay.
And
there's cake? Where's my cake?
There is cake. Yeah, where's the cake? Yes, so very excited. Looking forward to talking about a very good episode.
Oh, you really like this one, it sounds like.
I did.
So here at episode 40 of Titan Talk, we are going to talk, at long last, Aqualad. Dun, dun, dun. This was the fourth episode of Titan Season 2. Just came out a couple days ago on September 27th, 2019. Written by co-executive producer Jamie Gorenberg, who's new to the writing on this show. Directed by Glenn Winter, who directed the Season 1 finale, Dick Grayson, and tends to direct the rather special effects-heavy episodes of a lot of the CW superhero shows, the Arrowverse shows, for Greg Berlanti. So I thought he did a great job here. And Jesse, before we get into our guest cast, what was your thoughts on this one?
So Friday night was our monthly poker game, and I was hosting. So I had, our 6 or 7 normal guys there. We played poker. Everyone got out at 1 a.m. I picked up what I needed to pick up, immediately went to the TV, switched to my Fire Stick, rolled up the DC app, and watched the episode because a certain favorite co-host had tweeted that he had 4 pages of notes and was excited to talk about this episode with me.
4 pages, 4 pages of copious notes.
I knew I was excited about watching this episode. I knew it would be interesting, and it exceeded my expectations. So I am very excited about this one.
Yeah, this is obviously a big one. Not only do we get to see the original incarnation of the Titans at long last, so we get to see everybody. We get to see Robin, Wonder Girl, Hawk and Dove, and of course the introduction of Drew Van Acker as Aqualad. And so we get the original Titans. We also get to see the death of Aqualad in this one. And as yours truly kind of called it, Deathstroke,
yes,
Deathstroke killed Aqualad, you guys. You bastard. And obviously, this is one of the reasons why the Titans have such animosity for Deathstroke, and what ultimately led to the original Titans breaking up. So it's kind of a big deal. And we also get the introduction in this one of, at long last, we get Jericho, Deathstroke's son, Jericho, and we get to see Adeline Kane, Jericho's mom, the ex-wife of Slade Wilson, at long last. So I thought that was rather cool. So pretty big episode all around.
The actress who played Adeline.
Yeah, Adeline.
Yeah, she.
Let me run down the cast. Go ahead. All right. Let me do that. Well, so obviously we had Drew Van Acker, who played Aqualad / Garth in this story. If you've seen him before, he's been on episodes of Pretty Little Liars and also the series Tower Prep, which I believe was a Disney XD series, if I'm not mistaken. And also he was on an episode of Castle back in the day. So you can check.
If I believe,
yes,
Tower Prep was the yes, Paul Dini had created that show.
Yes,
a really, really nice show. I had forgotten, but yeah, Drew Van Acker was the lead. Very good in that. That was a little better than you expect. Kind of ABC family-ish show. It was really well done.
I couldn't remember if it was Disney or ABC Family, but
it may have been Disney. I think it was.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure where it was because I
yeah.
didn't watch it, so I can't say as an authority by any means.
Yeah, I did, and I really liked it. Oh, it was Cartoon Network, and that's
really it was on Cartoon Network. Okay, one of their live action shows.
Yes.
All right.
So, yeah.
Okay. We also had the return, of course, of Esai Morales as Deathstroke and Damore Barnes as William Wintergreen. But we also got the introduction of Chella Man as Jericho. Chella Man, for those who aren't aware, is actually deaf and genderqueer, and he's more of a YouTube star. He's never really done professional acting, but they cast him as Jericho. Now Jericho isn't deaf; he's just mute, as we find out, because we got to actually see Jericho's scar on his neck.
Yes, they did. They did a good job of showing that.
If you paid attention to that, that's very important. Mayko Nguyen played Adeline, and she's been on episodes of a lot of sci-fi shows, sci-fi channel shows. Killjoys, she was on. She was on Defiance, and she was also on Continuum. So if you... she looks a little familiar. That's probably where you've seen her there. We get the return of Michael Mosley as Dr. Light, and the introduction of a character, Jillian, new character Jillian, played by Ann Magnuson, who's been in the movie Clear and Present Danger, the movie Panic Room, and recently on The Man in the High Castle on Amazon Prime Video. You've probably seen her there. She was also on, if you remember way back when, on the ABC sitcom Anything But Love with Jamie Lee Curtis. She was in that.
Now, I was going to stop you.
Yes.
You are much more up to date
yes.
on New Titans, a new DC Universe period
right.
on comics. Was she based on anyone from the comic?
I not directly.
Okay.
My theory, and I kind of pitched this out to my wife Lori as we were watching the episode. I think that Jillian is a very loose version of Julia Capetalis, who was this older woman, kind of a historian of Greek historian, Greek mythology, that George Perez created in his Wonder Woman comic book series back in the 80s.
That makes sense.
That she was the one who kind of, when Diana came to America, and that was speaking, Themysciran as opposed to English, that she kind of helped adjust Diana to society, American society.
That makes a lot of sense.
So
yeah.
And the name's Julia is kind of similar to Jillian.
Yeah.
So I think essentially Julia Capetalis was kind of a mentor to Diana. So I think this Jillian is supposedly obviously a mentor to Donna Troy. But she's kind of interesting, and we'll talk about this here a little bit more, that she's kind of almost like Donna's watcher, like on Buffy.
Yes.
That's the kind of vibe I got from her. That's almost like a watcher vibe.
Yeah, I agree.
And
because certainly wouldn't be a mentor, because that's what Diana is to her. But yes, she's kind of her almost faculty advisor.
Yeah.
Kind of yeah.
Somehow
connection.
she's got basically like a liaison between her and Wonder Woman, and
yes,
and the Themyscirans. but not quite sure how. And I don't think we've seen the last of her. We'll talk about
No,
it
I
more.
don't think so too.
Um,
I don't think so
we
at all.
also got the introduction of, well, just for this episode at least, Daniel Byrne as Jacob Finley. Now, he is a DC Comics character. Jacob Finley is. He's essentially the kind of lab partner that Dr. Light in the comics stole his technology from and killed. And so there's a kind of a little nod to that with him being included in this story, because as we find out that Dr. Light in the Titans version kind of gets his technology from Jacob Finley as well. So at least as far as this actuator or activator that he's looking for in this story. But he's also, Daniel Byrne has been on episodes of American Gods, The Handmaid's Tale, and Fargo. So he's got a little street cred in this one. All right. Obviously, this is a big episode. I broke it down. I do have a theme this week.
Love it when we got a theme.
Yep. So 3 topics that I want to talk about. First topic, modern love. So
my favorite David Bowie song, if I had to put in one.
Yeah.
Get me to the church on time.
Church
modern
on time.
love. Yep.
So modern love. And this I want to talk about. Obviously, I want to talk about Wonder Girl, aka Donna Troy, and Aqualad, aka Garth, and might as well throw Jillian in here as well. We've already talked about her a little bit, but the main thrust of this episode is the big romance. Most of it one-sided throughout most of the episode between Aqualad and Wonder Girl, and ultimately it turns out to be a tragic romance, as we find out in the end of the story when he gets killed. So
spoilers? No.
If you haven't,
yes,
you should have already been spoiled by now. We've already kind of spoiled some stuff already. So yeah, spoiler warnings if you haven't watched the episode. But yeah, he dies. So there you go. So Jesse, what was your thoughts about the Wonder Girl Aqualad romance?
I loved everything about it. The lovely Mrs.
Yes.
Mrs. Coffee and Hot, Charles Skaggs, your beautiful bride and my somewhat daughter, Lori, had said that she thought...
You gave her away at our wedding. I think that counts as daughter-in-law. Or
she
daughter,
had mentioned...
Actually. Daughter.
Yes.
Surrogate daughter. How's that?
Yes. How much she was happy with Leslie Connor playing Donna Troy.
Connor Leslie, yeah.
Yeah, Connor Leslie. And every time I see her, I think that more and more. She is just perfect in this role. And seeing her play a 5-year younger self, the interaction she has with the team, her friendship with Dawn, her brother-sister relationship with Dick, it is just perfect. And I loved the backstory of that. Garth says, "I've loved you since I was 12." Right. He just had hit 21.
He's been pining for her since he was 12 years old.
Yeah.
So so it's obviously been a unrequited love for that long.
Yeah. And I love they're implying that just in the comics there's been various versions of the quote unquote Teen Titans or the Titans or the Sidekicks group, right? That because they knew each other when they were 12 and
maybe before they actually became the Titans. Yeah. They basically knew each other through being, the sidekicks for all the regular superheroes. Yeah.
And they tell that lovely story about how she was obsessed with Finding Nemo and she wanted a clownfish, and he convinced her that watching fireworks from underwater is amazing, and the story about how red it was, how blue her lips were because the water was so cold. They sold me that this is a long-term friendship.
Right.
And that he has been, as you said, he's been in love with her kind of silently, maybe.
Right.
For as long as he can remember, since he was 12 or so. And I knew this was going to end poorly. I knew there was a tragedy, kind of like Romeo and Juliet. You go into this, this is going to end badly, but I was pulling for them. I loved how she's going to run away, but then she decides to sleep with him, and then she wasn't going to tell him. It's just everything about
It's kind of like a one-night stand.
Yeah.
That they had, and then she was just like going to leave right there and then.
Yeah. And it was just perfect. The only thing I would have changed is I realized that's not the show we're watching, is I would have liked a whole season of watching the original Titans have adventures,
right.
And then his death would have been even more poignant.
Right.
But because we've known this and we've seen the after effects, his death still, even though we just met the character, we feel like we've known him a long time, and it was very sad to watch them die. How about you, Charles?
Well, obviously DC Comics fans knew him from the comics. Yeah. He was created all the way back in the 60s and early 50s or late 50s, early 60s. And he's been, obviously he was a founding member of the Teen Titans with Kid Flash and Robin. So, he's been around. But so if you're a DC Comics fan, you were already kind of invested a little bit into the character.
Absolutely.
Maybe you might have been a big fan, but at least you knew of him. But for TV viewers, just kind of being introduced to him, I thought they did a good job of introducing his character, making him sympathetic. It's always easy to root for the guy who pines after the really great girl who isn't giving him the time of day. Especially, yes. And he tries to win her over. Ultimately gets some advice from Dick that he's trying too hard, and that he should, to obviously use, because it's guys, you have to use like a car metaphor, that you have to take your foot off the gas, and before you flood the engine out. And so he does that. He finally just like, okay, he invites her out to dinner. They're going to go out for burgers and beer. And then he's like, but he makes the comment, well, just as friends. And, but Hank's coming along, so you don't have to worry, because he knows that, Donna to this point is very reluctant to be around him. Very, is just, doesn't want him attracted to her, is very resistant. So he tries to play it cool, and at this moment, this is where she kind of finally reaches out and kisses him, and they ultimately leading to that big sex scene later on, where they make love in his bedroom. So, and then he wakes to find an orange soda bottle on the pillow. So, the Dear Garth soda bottle, and it was a nice little romance. I mean, these two characters had never been involved in the comics at all.
No.
And like normally it was that Donna was involved with Roy Harper, Speedy, and because he was the bad boy of the group,
right?
And girls always like the bad boys, right? Yes. And like there was. I know some fans, like my wife, wanted Dick and Donna to get together, even though I think they work better as a brother-sister relationship. Personally, that's me.
Yeah, I know.
But I know a lot. I know a lot of people ship it. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But recently in the Titans comic, they had the adult Wally West kind of having a brief romance with Donna Troy. So, but they never had anything between Donna and Aqualad, Garth.
Yeah.
Um,
And
so, but it kind of works because of Garth being an Atlantean and Donna coming from this Amazon background. That they're both kind of like from this kind of warrior culture.
yes.
So they're kind of two characters that would you would think kind of gel together. Kind of like you could see a romance between Aquaman and Wonder Woman in that sense.
Yeah. And one of the things I like,
Especially with both of them being royalty.
yeah, I like the idea that they're setting up that being an Amazonian, she's very about structure
Right.
and discipline, and they set the idea that someone from an Atlantean,
Atlantis, yeah.
Atlantis, the Atlanteans are very carefree, live at the moment,
Right.
To heck with the consequences. And so you have, and they talk about that, opposites attract, right? And
that's what Dove kind of pushes.
Yeah.
Because she's the one kind of trying to push Donna toward Garth.
Yeah.
She's trying to play matchmaker.
And I like that kind of added storyline, that added little character point that and he's not as carefree and as wild as his reputation may perceive, and she isn't as straight-laced, disciplined others. So there is a common ground. I really like the romance. I like the relationship. I loved all 5 of these original Titans interactions together.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that more in our second segment. Yeah. So
yes.
I want to kind of focus this segment on just Wonder Girl and Aqualad, but
yeah.
We can talk about the other Titans in our second segment. Now let's talk about Jillian for a minute.
Okay.
So you brought up how Wonder Girl Donna is leading this very structured, disciplined life as a superhero. She's trying to be focused. She doesn't want the distraction of the romance with Garth. And apparently she's on a time limit, as we learn, because it's kind of interesting that we find out that Donna is supposed to go back like in what do they say, like 12, 20 months or something like that, back to Themyscira.
Yeah, the implication, Charles, is almost that, and she keeps talking about being a warrior, but I read it as a princess, she has duties. And so, like any good Hallmark Channel movie,
yeah,
right? The princess has taken a break to either go to school or to explore life before she has to return to her royal court and her royal duties and, as she calls it, her destiny. She has a role to play in her society, the island there where she grew up, and where she now has a place. And they're letting her kind of study abroad. That's how I looked at it. Like,
right.
Not only just in university, but learning life before she can go. So she is afraid. She has feelings for Garth. And so instead of embracing that, she actually does the, I won't say coward, but the shy, I'm going to blame it on my duties and say that Jillian said, gotta go, so that she can strategically retreat. I thought that was very realistic. I thought it was a nice twist in the romance, and it worked for me.
Yeah, because Donna, the whole thing is that they're holding this birthday party for Garth, and Donna is off in her room, secluded, and she's just like, she has this Frida Kahlo book, and she doesn't want to hear what's going on, so she puts on her headphones, and is trying to tune out everything that's going on, and leading to Dawn literally dragging her into the party, off her bed into the party. And these two characters with Donna and Garth, Garth spends so much of the episode trying to win her over, and then finally that happens. But with Jillian, Donna has this thing on the side that not everybody else knows about, and then she's kind of panicking about the relationship. She's kind of probably afraid of how she feels about Garth, so she texts Jillian and says, well, hey, I know I was supposed to not go back for like 20 months or whatever, but can I go back now? And so she's essentially running from the idea of that relationship. And ultimately, she ends up lying to Dick about it when she tells him that, oh, hey, I have to leave. And so it goes she's obviously scared by the idea of the relationship. She's kind of panicked by it. Either she's just afraid of her feelings, or she doesn't want to face them, or she's just afraid of the consequences of what it might mean. But ultimately, it's leading to her lying to everyone about it. And it's only at the end where she tries to say, she tries to get on the plane with Jillian back to Themyscira, and Garth shows up and confronts her. And he goes, hey, I know we had sex tonight. Was that it? It was just a one-night stand and you were going to leave me? And he kind of calls her out about it. And it's only when he finally says, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm walking away. Like he actually opens up and says, I love you. And I've always loved you. And I will always love you. And she gives him nothing back. So he turns and leaves. And it's only then that Donna, confronted with the idea that he might leave, runs out to him and admits her feelings. And then things take an immediate, horrible, tragic turn when Deathstroke shows up and fires a bullet. And we'll talk about Deathstroke more in our third segment. But ultimately, Aqualad gets shot and dies right there.
Yeah,
So it's like Donna finally wakes up, realizes her feelings, and then, oh, guess what? Your boyfriend's dead already. Sorry.
Yes, absolutely. I like I said, I love the tragedy of this. I hate, like I said, I would have liked for them to had a little more happiness before this happened.
Right.
But since we knew that this was going to happen, it's not necessarily, it wasn't shocking.
Right.
It just made me sad.
Yeah.
So, I love this.
All right. Anything else about these characters before we move on?
Nope. I think, like I said, I just thought they really did a good job on this.
Yeah, and Connor Leslie is the perfect Donna Troy.
She really is.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a fault with her performance, I would be surprised because she's just amazing in it. She's everything you could want from a Donna Troy, at least everything I want to see from Donna Troy.
And I would make the argument that I know a lot of people, and this is our transition to the other Titans. I don't know if that's topic 2. I think
that is topic 2.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'll save it. Go ahead.
Okay. So topic number 2. We can be heroes just for one day.
Absolutely.
So topic number 2, the Titans. These are the other Titans. So this will be Robin, Hawk, and Dove. And let's throw in Dr. Light in this segment. Because that's who they kind of face off against in this episode. And, the Titans, they, while Donna's whole drama is going on, they hold this birthday party for Garth. We get to see and this is what I'm loving about the show in the second season, that deep sense of family among the Titans. And it's why I think the Titans are different from a lot of other superhero groups. And it's why I think a lot of fans find them so appealing, is that we get to see them as family. They care about each other.
Yes.
And that really comes through in this episode. So they do that, and then ultimately Dr. Light makes his move. We kind of get a little bit of a background with Dr. Light. We got to see how the Titans capture him, and he ultimately ends up in prison, which is why 5 years later he wants his revenge, presumably for this moment of his capture. And I'm dying to know what you thought about all that.
You know, I love, first off, I love this show, how they have manipulated my feelings.
Yes.
I like Hank and Dawn together. We've set that up, that they are good for each other.
Right.
He adores her. She
Cares
loves
for
him.
Yeah.
But you see this flashback, and I love Dick and Dawn together. I mean, I just love that relationship. I think, and I'm a big Minka Kelly fan since Friday Night Lights.
Right.
She's good for Dick, and she is so
not
loving.
So good for Dick, as it turns out at the end of the episode.
Well,
because
yes.
She's the one who encourages him to be Batman, and
yes.
we all saw how that worked out in season 1, didn't we?
But I think.
So not a great move there, Dawn.
But originally she's telling him, "Don't be Batman. We want you to be you." And
right.
then
right.
they're in so much pain
right.
that they give
over
in
Aqualad's
to their
death. Yeah.
Yeah, they give in to their anger and their feeling for revenge. So I love them two together. I love that Hank and Garth's relationship, that friendship, that is really well done. I love Dawn and Donna's sisterness. I totally agree with you. The family feeling of the Titans is what has always made the comics successful, and is really working on this show. And so the whole birthday cake, and then you even have the funny Jillian telling Donna where to get a better birthday cake next time.
Right.
Was a little nice nod. And then how much did you love watching them all suit up? You know, they cut back and forth.
Yeah,
putting on their
we got the big like Batman movie moment where they don their superhero costumes.
Yeah.
And all like march out in formation.
Yeah.
To go after Dr. Light.
Dick's putting his throwing stars and his R emblem, and they're all just getting together. My only regret is we didn't get to see Aqualad underwater, or they didn't talk about, I'm an old school. I want him to have to be in the water at least once an hour, even though that doesn't make sense.
No.
I'm old school. Like they
got rid of that time limit. Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to see him drinking a glass of water every once in a while, like kind of he has to, just because, old school. I think it was perfect. How about you?
No, it's kind of a little, yeah, it would have been nice to actually see Aqualad underwater once, right?
Yes.
Before they killed him.
Yes.
All we get to see him using his powers on is essentially Donna snaps open a water hydrant or fire hydrant to take out some carjackers or robbers, robbing this family, and Aqualad. This version of Aqualad is able to kind of manipulate water.
Yeah,
kind of
like Mira.
Like Mira does, like Mira can.
Yeah.
And so he manipulates this stream and takes out this one guy that's escaping via a fire escape up to the roof. And then we get to see him later at the at the army base or whatever, where he opens a water tank and that's
Mm-hmm.
there on the base and takes out one of the Dr. Light's henchmen with
Yeah.
another stream of water. That's the only time we get to see him actually use his powers and do
Yeah.
anything. But at least he did something, I guess, a
Yeah.
couple times. But it would have been nice to have been seen more. I love the relationship that even Hank and Aqualad had, because
Yes.
Hank's kind of picking on him throughout most of the episode.
Yeah.
Like doing all the fish jokes and razzing him about not being good with the ladies.
Right.
When Hank kind of gets a little drunk at the birthday party, and
I love Dick throwing another beer that way.
right, and
There
then
was a scene.
Aqualad kind of he shows his fast reflexes by catching the bottle
Mm-hmm.
really fast. But Hank at the end of the episode, after Garth is killed, even though he's razzing him, giving him a hard time throughout the whole thing, he's the one stepping up, like, once they identify Deathstroke, going, "We're going to take this mother effer down."
Yeah, and one of the things I liked them. They showed them fighting as a team.
Right.
I showed their, when the lights go out,
Right.
and he's like, "Let me check for the mainframe." We have Dick. They've done a good job of showing that Titan Tower, is set up to be. It is the perfect headquarters for this group, which is why Dick brings it back 5 years later for the new Titans.
Right.
Hank is good. He doesn't seem overly jealous because they were implied they were, Hawk and Dove obviously were together, but now that he seems okay with it.
Yeah.
And
essentially we find out that this is what we kind of learned is that they broke up.
Yeah.
And and Dawn actually hooked up with Dick for a brief time.
Yeah.
And then apparently that fell apart and Dawn went back to Hank.
Yeah.
So that's what we kind of learn here in this one.
Absolutely.
Presumably, obviously, the Aqualad's death kind of changes everything for the Titans, and they end up breaking up, and there's with all the residual fallout from that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of hoping that we get to see more of that, because obviously the way this episode ends with them saying, "Okay, we're going to go after Deathstroke." Well, we still need to find out what happened when they went after Deathstroke.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if we're going to get more flashbacks in the next episode or somewhere down the season.
And I get the feeling that
because they think he's dead they thought he was dead in the modern day, so presumably they think they kill him in the 5 years ago when they finally confront him.
Yeah, and I think that something bad happened. So that's why something happened where either Jericho died. That's in that somehow or another, Deathstroke has promised something happened that he told Richard that Robin, that if the Titans ever come back, I will come back and kill all of you. That is my feeling. I've read that on a couple other theories. Something happened that was bad enough, and that's why when he saw them coming back, he went, "Holy crap," and is pretty unhappy.
Yeah.
So we'll see. What do you think?
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out.
Okay.
I'm not sure what happens with Jericho. Maybe he just thinks he's dead, and he's not.
Okay.
So we'll find out.
Okay.
I'm not sure that Jericho's dead yet. We'll find out. What did you think, really quickly, before we move on, about Dr. Light in this story?
He's I still don't like the costume,
right,
and the whole thing. But overall,
Jacob kind of makes up fun of his costume. Is like this whole gladiator thing. This whole gladiator look isn't really working for you.
Yeah. I liked it. I think he's growing as a villain,
Yeah.
and he's certainly being a threat.
Right.
So yeah, I was happy with him.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
find that,
I'm happy.
like, he seems to, it doesn't seem like they think, like, Jacob, as we find out, has become this big success. He's on the
Yeah,
cover of their version of Time magazine called Span, as, touting him as like the next Isaac Newton or something.
yeah,
And um, while Dr. Light, essentially, he is kind of discredited, and like that he uses others to get ahead.
hmm
And like he had this, apparently he was doing this big experiment that went wrong, and that's probably where he gained his powers, and
yeah,
decided to build this this harness to focus those powers, I guess.
right.
And we'll find out more, presumably. But
Okay.
but uh, ultimately, yeah, we get to see how he was taken down, and as he was trying to get a hold of this laser that was developed to take down nuclear missiles. So obviously, they
Yeah.
thought that he could juice up on this and become essentially like a walking nuclear bomb from this.
hmm
So that was the whole big threat there. Okay, anything else about the Titans or Dr. Light?
No, just really, really cool. I liked it a lot.
Okay, so topic number 3, 5 years. And that's another David Bowie song. So we had
Yes,
Modern Love, Heroes, and 5 Years. That's on the Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars
and
album. And this is
X.
obviously what I want to talk about. I want to talk about Deathstroke in this segment, Jericho, Adeline, and Wintergreen. And of course, the reason for all the David Bowie theme is because at the end of the episode, Jericho's apparently a vinyl guy and was looking for David Bowie albums.
Yeah,
So,
he wanted a collection,
yeah,
and um, so Dick comes to there with some kind of plan involved, but he knew, and so he was swapping a UK version of vinyl of David Bowie for something else to make a friendship, and dun dun dun, the plot thickens. I Deathstroke um is so violent and I don't want to say cruel, but
right.
just non-emotional. I mean, he for assignment, yeah,
Cold and calculating.
yes, he kills everyone involved with the trial.
Yeah. So essentially,
Just
yeah, that's when we start off the episode. Is that he gets this contract to essentially, there's this trial going on, the most anticipated trial of the year, and he's essentially been hired to take out the prosecution's 2 key witnesses. So he does that. Essentially, he sets himself up with a sniper rifle and takes out not just the 2 key witnesses, he takes out an assistant DA, he takes out the judge overseeing the trial, and he goes in there and like actually impales him through the chest with his sword.
mhm.
So pretty much covers all his bases there. And then
Yes.
he goes back to his hotel room. Wintergreen is there having like with celebratory drinks and offers him a new assignment. We don't get to see
Mhm.
who the assignment is, and it's not until
No.
the end of the episode where Deathstroke uses his rifle and tries to assassinate someone. Now the question is, was he trying to kill Aqualad, or was he trying to kill Wonder Girl
Or Jillian.
or Jillian?
Yeah, but I think it's Wonder Girl.
So so
Um,
so so yeah, that's basically the question I'm posing is, do
yeah.
you think Aqualad was the target? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. I think it either had to be Donna or Jillian, and I don't think it would be Jillian.
Yeah.
So I think it's Donna. I don't know why she would be the target,
Right.
but I believe that's what it is. And even though Deathstroke very seldom misses,
Right.
just the way this works out, that would be good. I think that is. I like everything about this Elias playing him. I like how
Isai Morales,
the guys, Isai, yeah. I think is perfect. Just the right amount of cold and calculating. Wintergreen is great. I think that Adeline, is that say right?
Adeline,
yeah, looked a little too young to be Jericho's mom.
Yeah.
She looked more like a sister to me.
Right.
And in fact, at first when I was watched, I don't remember what was his relationship. And then after when I saw, I went, oh, okay, I guess that could be his mom. She looks kind of young, but I only watched the episode once. So,
right.
I think this was. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say on the subject of Adeline, I think they're kind of digressing a little bit diverging from the comics a little bit, because in the comics, for those who read, Adeline got involved with Slade because they were both in the military.
Yes.
And I don't think this version of Adeline, at least at first glance, maybe she is, was involved with the military. So this is just somebody that maybe Slade met up with at some point during a mission, maybe, or something, and fell in love with and had kids with, and or at least Jericho. We don't know if the other Wilson brother, Grant Wilson, is in this continuity or not. The one who plays the first Ravager. We don't know. We don't know if he's in this continuity or not. But so it seems very. I'm not sure how Deathstroke would have hooked up with Adeline in this continuity. And so I'm wanting to learn more. Obviously, hopefully we will learn more about how those two crazy kids got together. But Adeline, as it turns out, at this stage, at least 5 years ago, is on the run from Slade. They're hiding. They don't want. She's worried that Slade is going to find Jericho.
Yeah, because he has the window open.
Jericho does. Yeah,
and she's like, you can't relax ever.
Right.
You have to be careful.
Yeah. So I was very happy to see that. Obviously we got an actor signing. And obviously someone like who's deaf is great, because obviously that person can sign. And so that at least that carries over to Jericho. So that was very authentic to the comic. And it's great to see a superhero that that signs on television. I think that's great. Great for representation, in my opinion.
Absolutely, and I liked
because my nephew is deaf, so I'm very sensitive to that.
Yeah, and I would have. You could see down the road if Dick got more involved, he would learn signing.
Yeah.
He doesn't have it right now.
I kind of wondered if he already knows and was just pretending not to know it.
Oh, could be. Yeah.
As part of his cover. So so let's talk about that for a little bit. So Dick, as we find out, confronts Jericho in the shop where Jericho's flipping through vinyl looking for David Bowie albums. And first he comes up, he's very warm, and he's going, hey, I noticed you were getting this. I've got this great, copy of this album, and I'll make you this trade. And so they make the trade, and he goes, hey, did you know there was like an autographed copy of the David Bowie album Aladdin Sane over here? So let me show you that. And then, you think, oh, this is great. These two characters just happen to encounter one another by accident, maybe.
Yeah.
But then Dick kind of steps back, and we see that Dick has an ulterior motive, and this is all that he just approached Jericho deliberately because of his connection to Deathstroke, and this is why they're trying he's basically Dick is using Jericho to track down Deathstroke.
Absolutely.
So what did you make of that revelation?
As Dawn said, be Batman. We know this is the first step to our hero becoming someone he doesn't like and not necessarily we don't like.
Right.
So I thought that was very interesting, very cool to see. A little disappointing that Dick is going to...
That he just was making friends with Jericho just to use him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And but you get that's what you do, right?
Yeah. Well, hopefully after everything works out, and hopefully Jericho's still alive in the present day.
Yes.
Because we
I
want
don't think
we
he
want
is.
to we want to see, because of Judah's contract, we got to see our Nightwing Jericho team up, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Right.
I think in this I don't know. We'll see.
This continuity, we'll find out. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else about this episode?
Nope. I just loved everything about it.
Okay. Do you have any favorite quotes of this web?
So I do have one, but I'm gonna butcher it.
Okay.
Because I love everything about Donna and Dawn's discussion when she's trying to convince her to go to the party.
Right.
By the way, Leslie Connor tweeted that this was her favorite
Connor Leslie
scene. Yeah, Connor Leslie.
You always
keep saying it.
You
wrong.
always reverse it. Yes.
I know. So Connor Leslie said that this was her favorite scene, except for one coming up in an upcoming episode.
Ooh.
But I don't have time for dating. I have a lot to do before I learn. For the mascara. Right, and it was not with Dawn and him. It was
and then Donna corrects him. No, Themyscira.
Yeah, Themyscira. Yes, and yes, I love that.
But
scene.
he pronounced it as the mascara.
Yeah, the mascara.
Yeah.
And I also do love the. You might have both lines, but the where Dawn tells Dick, "Don't be Batman," and then at the very end, be Batman.
Yeah, she goes, now's the time. Be Batman.
Yeah, I love that. Be careful what you wish for, right?
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, like I talked about, that sent Dick. Apparently, he took that a little too closely to heart.
Absolutely, yes.
As we found out in season 1.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But thankfully, it's season 2 now, and we have a new Dick Grayson, and hopefully, he's here to stay.
Yes.
All right. My favorite lines. Slade saying when he shows up, returns to find Wintergreen with drinks. He says, "Why the house call? Miss my irresistible charm?"
Good.
All deadpan. I thought that was good. Hank doing a toast to Aqualad at the birthday party, and he goes, "A special tip of the hat to our birthday boy, who managed to lend a hand despite being a year older and wetting everyone's pants." Being a little nod to when he manipulated the water stream and when they were taking down those muggers.
Yes.
Donna and Dawn when Donna was hiding out in the bedroom, and Donna says, "I'm here for a limited time. Focus is crucial." And Dawn says, she's all skeptical. "Mm-hmm. So is cake. And we're about to bring out Garce." And Donna says, "Oh, I'm on a sugar cleanse." And Dawn goes, "Right. Okay, yeah. And I'm on a BS cleanse."
Yes, that was great.
And that was good. Garth getting some advice from Dick on how to handle Donna. Garth says, "Me, I'm like lovesick Christian trying to get Roxanne to look my way." And he pauses for a moment as Dick doesn't say anything. He goes, "Cyrano de Bergerac? I thought Bruce made you read the classics." And Dick replies, "If it wasn't about power, domination, or suppressing my emotions, Bruce didn't have me read it."
It was perfect.
right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, Donna and Garth saying, Donna, when they're at the airport, Donna says, "You're asking me to choose between my destiny and you." And Garth replies, "Maybe they're the same thing." So,
Yeah, I thought that was a great line.
so what's your rating for this one?
I love this one. I am giving it 9 out of 10 orange fizz soda pops. A point off because we did not see Aqualad swim in the water.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I had against this episode. How about you, Charles?
Well, you took mine, so I'm going.
Oh, no.
That's all right. It was kind of obvious, so that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 9 out of 10 uneaten birthday cakes because nobody eats birthday.
Yes.
Nobody eats birthday. Nobody ate cake in that episode, despite talking about it.
Yes.
So, and I should say uneaten octopus cakes because you noticed the cake was an octopus.
Yes, absolutely.
So, all right. I really like this one as well. I thought it was great. As it turns out, though, a couple of our listeners weren't as enamored with this episode as we were. So,
okay.
Yeah. So, I don't have any Titans Tower news this time, but we do have some Tell It to Titan Talk feedback. First, we got a comment on Twitter from Ann Deacon on Twitter. So hi, Ann, aka at Scaper Anya on Twitter, and she writes, "Sad to say, I found it disappointingly slow. Donna was so emo. Dick/Dawn were together because she crashed and burned with Hank. All 5 of them suited up for carjackers, but out of costume to investigate the bank. Bit with the Jericho at the end makes me think flashbacks continue next week." So I didn't see Dick and Donna as so emo really. She's just more like trying to be focused and
yeah.
And
I thought,
and keep in mind, this is 5 years ago. People will change over time.
Yeah, and I also thought that it was more. They were doing. When they went to the bank, they were doing reconnaissance, right?
That's the vibe I got, was that they didn't want to stand out because, hey, you're in costume, you're going to stand out. They were just trying to do it more covertly.
Absolutely, yes.
So, that's the vibe I got. Now, as far as suiting up for carjackers, well, maybe they were already out on patrol or something.
Right.
Or maybe they came back from a different case and just happened to come across them. But usually when you're fighting crime, you want to be in costume, right? So
absolutely.
Anyway.
Yes.
But thank you, Ian, for reaching out to us on Twitter. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And hope to hear more from you. Now, at the very last minute, you guys, we got an email from Stephen Marshall, who writes to us in our TitanTalkcast@gmail.com. He goes, "Hey guys, I don't know if it was just me, but felt that they could have told the Aqualad story in about 20 minutes. It would have served better as an episode that's set in modern day with flashbacks to the Aqualad plot. As a whole episode, it didn't quite work for me. The big plot point was the ending with Deathstroke, which was the best thing about the episode, in my opinion. I hope they can bring back next week with a stronger episode. Kind regards, Stephen." So,
well, very much, Stephen. I appreciate the feedback, and
So is it just because you and I are older and we can appreciate a good flashback romance, or
it could
what?
Be, or maybe we're coming from a perception.
We don't need to have everything be like an action episode,
or just maybe because we like the new spin.
Yeah.
But I think that's a very, there have been episodes like in the first season where we felt like they were just spinning their wheels.
Right.
Maybe because I liked seeing this classic take on the Titans, seeing them in happier days. And then this setting up why they broke up and everything. I was happy with it. And so fair get that for people who wanted to see more.
Yeah.
But I love this one, and I appreciate the feedback of people saying that they didn't like it as much.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously okay to have your opinions, and that's cool.
Absolutely.
We respect all opinions here.
Absolutely.
Um, I just personally found it like it's it's necessary backstory, I think, for why things are the way they are, and it was great to see a flashback story set 5 years ago with the original Titans. So it's not going to detract from the modern era. If anything else, I think it's going to explain more, knowing this backstory. So
Yeah.
that's the way I approach it. But that again, that's just me, and everybody else perfectly entitled to your opinion. I have
Yeah.
nothing against that. So
Absolutely. And we love the fact that you shared with us
exactly.
and told us that. Absolutely.
So thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Ann, for writing in. We definitely appreciate you guys. And Stephen, you just got in under the wire today, so you got in.
Good job.
Good job. If you want to be like Stephen and you want to be like Ann, you can reach out to us at titantalkcast@gmail.com. That's titantalkcast@gmail.com. Or you can reach us on Twitter at Titan Talkcast. We'd love to hear from you. Or on Facebook, Titan Talk, the Titans Podcast. That would be lovely. Love to, if you would love, or you could like and follow us there on Facebook or Twitter. That'd be great. Jesse, where can they reach you on the interwebs?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Jesse Jackson DFW. You can find me on Facebook, Jesse Jackson, Louisville, Texas. You can hear Charles and I talk about the world's longest running science fiction fantasy show, Doctor Who. We are just episode we have coming up where we talk about a Big Finish audio episode, but we don't just talk Big Finish audios. We talk television, comics, books, everything, both new and old Doctor Who. So please check that out at Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast. If you just now wanting to, you're binging Krypton, you signed up to get Titans and you went, oh, Krypton's available on the DC app. Maybe I should check that out. Well, you can go to the Fandom Zone podcast, where Charles and I went through every episode of the second season of Krypton, talking about the good and the bad. And if you're going to Amazon and binging The Boys, we had a special wrap-up episode of that. And the Fandom Zone will return down the road so we can talk more comic book TV series.
Yep.
And then lastly, Set Lusting Bruce, the Bruce Springsteen podcast, where I talk to Bruce Springsteen fans from around the world, talking about Bruce. We just had our special 70th birthday celebration. No, not the episode, not the podcast turning 70 years old. Bruce himself turned 70, and we had over 80 people from 14 different countries send their messages to Bruce, including my favorite podcast co-host. Charles had to make sure his voice was heard. So please check that out. Hey, Charles, aren't you on a couple podcasts besides this one?
Maybe. So
okay.
Everybody, if you want to reach me on the interwebs, you can reach me at Charles Skaggs on Twitter, at Charles Skaggs on Instagram. We'd definitely appreciate that if you did. Facebook, of course, Charles Skaggs in Hilliard, Ohio. And my blog of geeky things. Come on, you.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Damn good coffee and hot. Where I talk about all the stuff we talk about here on Titan Talk, including Titans news, Doom Patrol news, all kinds of comic book sci-fi news of my other podcast, including the aforementioned Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast, or the Fandom Zone podcast, both of those that I do with Jesse, and with Next Stop, also with assorted special guest companions. And also Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast that I do with Zan Sprouse, where we talk about all things Twin Peaks and David Lynch, etc., etc. And talked about our recent going to see Mulholland Drive, the David Lynch film, over the weekend. That was a lot of fun. And right now we're going through the our special commentaries, commentary episodes as we live watch Twin Peaks: The Return season 3 from that aired on Showtime in 2017. We're kind of doing those. So please check those out. We definitely appreciate that. Otherwise,
And just a reminder,
yes.
both Charles and I were DJ Nick, who has
Yes.
been on this show, and we're hoping to have him again, invited both Charles and I to join him on his new podcast, discussing our favorite comic book movie. Charles discussed Superman, and I discussed Watchmen. I think Watchmen, my episode's coming out this week.
Yep.
So go and check that out.
Yeah, that's the Happiness and Darkness podcast, for those of
Yes.
you looking for that. And that's on SoundCloud. You can reach out there. DJ Nick, always a big friend of the show, was kind enough to have me on his very first episode to talk the 1978 Superman film, and it was great to have Jesse on, and I can't wait to hear that Watchmen discussion, because that's obviously really interesting, because obviously with the new HBO Watchmen series coming up, that's no better time to go back through Watchmen, the movie. So
Absolutely.
So check those out, and help give our friend DJ Nick a listen. He's always fun to talk to. We had a lot of fun doing it. Otherwise, next time on Titan Talk, we're going to talk Deathstroke. Not the character. Well, we are going to talk the character, but that's the episode title because it's Titans, and they have rather unimaginative episode titles. So Deathstroke, that's episode 5 of Titans Season 2, and in that one, with the team in upheaval, the Titans do everything in their power to save Jason's life, but when Deathstroke demands they turn over Rose, the dilemma threatens to tear the team apart. So those of you who have been wanting to get back to the modern era to find out what happened to Jason Todd, well, there you go. Episode 5, next week. All you had to do was wait a week. No big deal. And we'll see how it happens. And we'll see more of what happens to Jason Todd, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, someone reached out to us on Twitter, suggested, well, hey, what if Jason Todd is the traitor in the Judas Contract storyline, not Rose Wilson? And I've been wondering that kind of myself a little bit, but I hope that would be great, because I think it would be a much stronger twist if Jason turns out to be the traitor. I still think it's Rose, though. But
yeah, I agree with you, but I can't make the logic of how he would do
because
that.
Because Jason is so brash and eager for respect that maybe Deathstroke kind of co-opted him before.
Okay. Or maybe not a
maybe
the
he's
idea
been planning this a while.
Or maybe this is a recent change.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could think, because I wouldn't think this would be the long game. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, we'll have to see.
It's an interesting theory, and obviously, like I said, I've been considering it, but I think it would make it for a great twist. So we'll see what happens. I still think it's Rose, though. But
yeah, I do too.
Unless something otherwise we're presented with changes my mind. All right. Everybody, thank you so much for listening to Titan Talk. We always appreciate it. We're getting a lot of listeners for Titan Season 2.
We are.
So really appreciate that. And please tell your friends about us. Hope you're enjoying it still. And come on back next week. Titans episode 5 of second season, Deathstroke, right here on Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.